How do you pivot from doing boards when you really want to do grazing tables? Are reels on Instagram really worth pursuing? Where do I buy my goods? What are great incentives to offer your clients to get them to come back and be repeated clients? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am answering all of those questions and more on this recorded mini coaching session with Grazing House. I hope you enjoy. She's got a lot of great questions. Hi Sabrina. Hello, how are you?
I'm great. I really found out about you when you guys collabed on that Instagram Live about collaboration over competition. And I'm just such a researcher, and your name always came up when I was doing the research. And so that's how I found you.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, Mo's amazing. We're actually doing another live tonight at 5 o'clock.
I know, I'm excited.
So that's going to be fun. Awesome. Well, where are you at with your business right now? Do you have something already off the ground, or are you looking on building it? Where are you at?
Yes. So I've been live since about October. And prior to that, prior to having like a website and everything set up, I used to just teach charcuterie workshops as a fill-in at a local coffee shop. And so once she decided to like shut down, it was one of the things like I didn't want to stop doing it. I thought it could really be awesome in this side of town where I was living. And so I just decided to launch. Last year we had a lot of time to think and be creative in our own minds. And so my friend was really, really helpful with collaborating and bouncing ideas. And so since October, we've had a live website. We've been selling products. We've hit or surpassed about 13,000 in net sales. So it's going really well, which I'm super stoked about. And so a lot of my questions are just kind of more towards just the fine tuning details, I guess, to continue growth on a larger scale.
Amazing. So how do you think, where did your growth come from, do you think?
Well, I'm quite humble, and it's really weird to me how things are growing until it's like just kind of thrown in my face. My friend thinks it's about just a really strong brand, and I'm trying or really staying true to the brand that we've created. It's a really beautiful website. People are enjoying that. And the access of my products and the access to me, as they really love a connection. And I kind of give them a connection, especially when they're booking or if they're asking questions. And I think that's just is suitable for my clientele in my area.
Yes, absolutely. And you'll see people who they aren't personable. They don't post their photos or Instagram stories. You don't even know what they look like. And they don't do as well as those people who are out there showing their personality. You don't have to be the most charismatic person. You can just be subtle as well. But if you're showcasing you, that will attract more clients to you. So you've already checked that off the box.
Yeah. And, I'm such a people person. I really love building relationships. And so I think that is helpful in this process of growth. I mean, I can't always sit down and have 2-hour conversations with these new clients, but I let them know I'm open to it if you want to book a workshop.
That's smart. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Great. So you're utilizing social media as well.
I am. I've taken a lot of your guys' tips of, the consistency of just showing up daily. It doesn't have to be 12 hours worth of content, but at least something every day to be in front of people's faces. I haven't ventured off to reels yet. I love your guys' reels, and it feels like a foreign language to me. And I probably could hire my 12-year-old niece to do it for me, and she would be so well versed. But I just have to take some time to learn a little bit more about that. So I guess one of my questions is that something that once you started doing reels, was that something that helped your growth in terms of social media?
Yes, I would say it helped the growth of my social media profile and also converted people to my course. So that's specifically the Graze Academy. But if you're
Right.
doing a tutorial Tuesday with a board, and somebody local is seeing that consistently, then they're more likely to hire you because they're already following you. So I think reels are a great way to grow the audience that you have. Um, and then you can grow it to people that are local as well. It's kind of like
Okay.
TikTok. Like I used to tell people, TikTok, you can make the content if you want to, but it's not as important as it is posting on Instagram stories,
Okay.
because usually the people following you on Instagram, these are your people that are in your city. Where
Right.
TikTok can be like a 12-year-old in Missouri, and your following is growing so fast, but it's like, is that my ideal client? And it might not be. So sometimes with
Right.
Reels, you can grow the following on your Instagram, and then there is a percentage of those people who are local to you and will convert.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So I definitely, it's on my radar to do more research of how to just make a simple one, rather than taking up too much time.
Yeah.
But I
And it
definitely am interested.
doesn't hurt to grow the social media, because I like having everything on one platform. So that's why Instagram is my favorite. So if you're going to grow and do reels and grow your audience, great, because that's another source of income you could eventually create by creating a media kit once you get a certain following, and then reaching out to brands to sponsor their cheese on your tables and your boxes. And then you're making money making boards, but also you have a little side income from this cheese business that wants you to use their brand.
Yeah, and that kind of led into my next question too, is what are some of the perks of getting a larger following, outside of course more income in terms of your boards, but does, let's say, a larger company, would they sponsor somebody who has, less than 10,000 followers?
You'd be surprised. I have heard that it
Okay.
people do get sponsored. I've had a couple things happen on some of my accounts, but what is more likely to happen for you is if you reach out to them,
Mhm.
because there's people that have followers that maybe they bought, or maybe it was just like one reel went viral and they have a ton of followers, which is great. But then if they're not consistent with their reels and they're not posting them anymore, then it's just like dead. It's a dead account. And you can look at your insights on Instagram and the analytics and see how many people view her stories, how many people tune into her account, how many people engage with her Instagram post. And so when you
Okay.
work with a bigger corporate client, or let's not say corporate, let's say a client that wants to sponsor you for something, whether that's just a wood board, a resin board, someone boutique like a resin board company could reach out to you and be like, hey, I love your boards. I love the way your food looks. Could you put my boards on your page? And then
Mm,
they'll ask that. Sometimes they don't say like a rate. And then that's when you have to say, okay, do I want to do this one for free? Do I want to do a discount promo code? Or like, what do I want to be paid for this? So
okay.
that's another ball game of like, what are my rates? Because especially when you're new and you're like, oh, I want to do this, but I don't want to overcharge because I'm new. But also you
Right.
want to charge your worth and you deserve it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, which is such a weird thing to start to break down and think about, like, what am I worth? I know sure as shit I'm not worth $10 an hour, you know? I
right.
used to teach in the classroom and I'm like, never gonna go back there again for whatever they're trying to pay me. And when I do workshops, it's like $300-400 an hour ends up being, and I'm like, yeah, that's definitely my worth. But not everybody's willing to pay it. And you have to be kind of okay that they're not, I guess, paying what you believe you're. I don't know. It's a weird conversation
Well,
sometimes.
those people aren't your clients then. And then if you
Yeah.
have a high ticket price, you're going to get high ticket people. And sometimes it's better to have a high ticket price and then you're getting quality clients and less of them maybe, but you have more time to focus on them. Like for example,
Mhm.
I had a lower price at one point and I was getting so much volume and it was great, but it was like I can't focus on everybody. So then when I raised the price a little bit, it's like, okay, now I'm having higher end clients come through and now I can focus and make sure I have everything in order.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense for sure. Because it is, you want to be able to keep the brand, you want to keep the quality really well. And I've known, even like in the last few weeks, it's been a bit frazzling with certain orders, and I have to like set boundaries, or I have started to raise some of my prices, and it's just a different clientele that comes through for
Yes.
sure.
That's why pricing is so important. I mean, when I started Olive and Nectar, I did not want to do boards after a while because I had a full-time job, and I'm like, boards are nothing compared to grazing tables. So I made my boards double their price and then focused on grazing tables, only posted grazing tables, a board here and there. And then then that became my niche.
Art. That is exactly how I feel right now. We offer like a 1 foot, 2 foot, and 3 foot board option. This I've thought about doing, more palm leaf plates just because I can get more for a better price. But the people they like these wooden rectangular boards. I don't know if it's better on their table. So I am giving them what they want at a really, I think a really decent price that both everybody's happy. But it's time consuming, and I would much rather bust out one grazing table for the whole month rather than 40 boards,
I
And
know.
so moving forward, that's definitely where I would like my focus to be for sure.
Yeah, definitely kind of start to play around with that pivot of like, okay, let me focus on these grazing tables. Sometimes it's tricky because you have to put that out there. And maybe for the birthday party, I don't know what you made for your daughter, but maybe you set up a grazing table for a next event instead of the boxes. Because the more people see boxes, boards, cones, the more they want that. But the more you post grazing tables, the more they want that. They buy what you are selling and what you put out.
Yeah, makes sense. I have a wedding, grazing table wedding for 150 next weekend. So I'm super excited about that. So my question too is, when you charge your grazing tables, do you alter the price? Do you have like a set amount, let's say 0 to 50 and then 50 to 100? Does your price alter with the larger amounts of people?
When I hit 100 people and they're going over 100, yes, I take off $5 per person
Mm,
because
okay.
at that point I've already covered my costs for like inventory things like the parchment and the
Mhm.
hair, all that stuff. And
Right.
then on top of it, it's like it's an incentive for them to hire you over somebody else because there will always be someone that's under you. But if you're saying, look, our price is $25 per person or $35 per person for the styled grazing table, but since you want 150 people, we'll charge you 35 per person for 100, and then we'll drop it down for the 50 people to 30.
Mm.
And it's a nice incentive, and I think that that helps when you have more people and then you drop it down a little bit.
Yeah,
Because
because
that $5 increase, sorry about that, that $5 increase for me is for the props. So I'm already making a profit off of having a styled grazing table. So if I can totally afford to knock off the $5 for 50 people.
right, for sure. And then, I mean, when you think about other catering companies, they don't really alter the price after a certain amount. They just charge you all the way through however many people you have. Good. Well, thank you for that answer.
And you're going to want, I don't know what your invoices look like, but there's definitely add ons for big events like this, especially a wedding. Like you can add on flowers and maybe a cheese wheel cake and cutlery and cheese knives. And then obviously your setup fee, your breakdown fee, and your delivery fee.
hmm hmm
All these
I
other
love
things
you
that will be
posted
tacked
something
on.
recently that shared about the different add-ons, and I love that because it was like, what I love is like you're always so like just ahead of the game with your details. And I purchased one of your flat lay classes because I'm like, I feel like I'm doing what you're saying, right? I'm following your lead with your Instagram and your information, and then sometimes I'm like, I just need validation. I'm gonna buy her class just to make sure I'm doing all the details. And everything's very timely, and you're a great educator on that platform for sure.
Thank you. I love it.
Yes.
I think I need
So
another one with a bigger table. Because
yeah.
Graceology 101 is a flat lay for about, I think, 30 to 40 people. But it would be amazing to do one. And I've had a lot of requests for this recently of a styled grazing table for like 50 to 100 people, something like that. And I'm like, okay, well, that can't be a YouTube video because I'd have to spend like $300 on groceries at least.
Yeah.
So maybe
Exactly.
we'll do some sort of like live class and a grocery list that we all do and we can do it together or something. So
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be a really cool thing. Because I think with most of us, we do have an idea of what we're doing, but we do need a little bit of validation to make sure it's like it seems appropriate. Like, is this supposed to go here? Does it look okay up like this? Or,
yeah.
what should go on a platform versus on a flat surface? So I think that would be really, really cool. Um, so in terms of groceries, where is like, how do you source your ingredients?
Okay, so when I have weddings and we're talking large parties, that's when I use a wholesaler. And sometimes when I'm doing an order for like a wedding, a wholesaler, I'll get extra nuts or dried fruits or something like that just to have on hand by. But when I do anything smaller, that's not a big wedding, you'll see me at the farmer's market. You'll see me a little bit at Trader Joe's. You'll see me at Whole Foods, just little tiny knickknacks. I love specialty markets like Persian markets. Um,
Yeah.
they're all over the place. You just can look for these different stores and find
Mhm.
specialty exotic fruits and things like that. But I do love a wholesaler because then you can get those big cheeses. You can get things that you can't find at, say, Trader Joe's is so common here, or your local grocery store. But that's where I would say. Where are you based out of again?
I live in Florida, so in Ocala, Florida. So it's a little north of Orlando, south of Gainesville, like this
Great.
little area through there, which is we don't have Trader Joe's is in Gainesville, which is not far of a drive, or we have like I guess it's called Restaurant Depot, or where you can go and get a big wheel of cheese. I do partner with Boar's Head, so they bring deliveries to me, which is nice for certain items. And that's been a fun connection because after a while I get tired of going to the store to gather ingredients. I'm like, they're gonna know me by name
I know.
here, which is
Restaurant
nice.
was great too.
Yeah, it is. So it's been fun just to make connections. And, I was raised in this town, but not until I started with a business mindset did it make a whole different level of connections with people. And that's what I've really loved about being a part of this business. And people love to eat, and I do too. And I mean, what better thing to present to them? So my next question is, how do you keep your clients coming back if that is something that you have in your area?
Yeah, I would say service is number one. You
Okay.
want to make sure at the beginning of the experience, like you mentioned earlier, sometimes don't have time for that 2 hour phone call of all those details with a client. And that's why it helps to do, and like for me, I do an email exchange with the client to just cover the basis of like allergies, how many people, where's the venue.
Mhm.
Sometimes I book things without the phone call, but sometimes when they want to do a phone call, I'll jump on, but I'll have those questions already answered. Another
Okay.
important thing when you are doing one of these phone calls is don't quote the price on the phone. You don't.
Okay.
I did that several times in the beginning, and oh my gosh, I totally put myself in a box before using a calculator, before doing this. And then, yeah, they hired me, but I'm like, wait, am I going to make any money? Like, what is
Yeah.
my hourly rate? What did I do? So I learned my lesson. Don't quote on the phone. Crunch your
Okay.
numbers after. Say, okay, this was great. I've got this detail. I'll call you back within the day or with a couple days and give you a proposal. And sometimes they're going to request, if you offer it, flat lay and grazing tables with styled elements. Or they're going to want to know, well, what's 6 boards versus a grazing table? I
Mhm.
know, like you have your 2 foot, 4 foot, 6 foot, or whatever. So
Right.
you want to make sure if you want grazing tables, make sure the grazing table has a little bit more, either it's a little bit more affordable or there's something that the price is so close that they're going to go for the grazing table. You don't want
Yeah.
it to be so much more affordable and so beautiful and big that it's like they're gonna do that instead.
Right. But I just had a conversation with somebody, yes, or the other day actually. She wanted to do a larger board, like boards for like 30 people. And I was like, well, why don't we do a grazing table? And, we talked about different pricing or elements. And she's like, well, that seems more cost effective. And I was like, it's almost like somewhat easier for me to do it that way. And it looks better. It's just pretty.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
it
how I feel too.
is. It's fun. It's such a creative outlet. And a lot, and she was like trying to separate the kids from the adults. And I'm like, kids love it too.
Yeah.
I mean, my kids, everything for my kids now is some kind of a snack board. I don't care. It could be steak and potatoes and vegetables, but it's going on a charcuterie board.
They love it. And if you're on the phone and you're hearing this, because they're playing around, and if it's a large party or not, you still can see what their budget is. That's another big question, is always ask their budget before you even say your per person rate. But if I were on the phone with a client and she said something about like, can the kids graze? You can say, absolutely, we accommodate kids, but it is more of a higher end, or however your food is. But I would
Mhm.
offer, I'm happy to do a table tot for you. That's what I call mine. But like a little one for kids that is like organic fruits and veggies, but maybe you have your cheese with a butterfly cutout, or like you're using
Okay.
brand, things like that
Yeah.
for the kids
Okay.
on a coffee table.
Okay. That's a cute idea. Perfect. I love that. Yeah, sometimes I don't know, and it's probably a mentality thing for me. So if I know what my cost is, and then they say significantly lower, let's say, oh, I only got, I don't know, $300, when I know what it is to make a table for a larger amount, I always feel so bad. I don't know why I feel bad when I quote, well, actually, it's going to be $700 instead of your budget of 300. Is that something you'd like to do?
No, I know. I always felt bad too. I would just like look at the send invoice and not click it right away, because I was like, I can't send this. How do I justify this? But just remember, like, once that person says, yes, I can do this, even though if she said her budget is 300 and you are giving her 700, maybe you can waive the delivery. Maybe there's something you can do to answer your question. When you go above and beyond for your clients, that's how they become a repeat client. So if I don't offer bagels from this specific bagel shop on a brunch grazing table, and she's like, I love this bagel place down the street, can you please do bagels? Yes, it's a yes. I will make it happen because she requested that. I'll do it. If there's anything crazy like, I want a hot bar with spaghettis and meatballs, sorry, here's a caterer local to you, I don't do that. But like, just try to do your best to go above and beyond. And then I
Okay.
wrap my parties up with a thank you card and or a
Okay.
thank you email,
Gotcha.
and they love it.
They do. Yeah. I love that idea. So, what has been your biggest challenge with starting your business?
I have had several challenges. I would say the biggest one, though, was changing my city, because I started in LA, Los Angeles, and then moved to Orange County. And
Mm,
it's a different ball game with the permits and the legality. So
yeah.
that was a huge challenge to get over that. It was very discouraging for me, because I was like, but I just had like two different commercial kitchens in LA, and then
Yeah.
thought I could do a different permit out here. They didn't transfer. Like, you have to start all over with my business license. Oh, seller's permit you need in order to go to Restaurant Depot, by the way.
Okay.
And for anyone that's going to be watching this.
Yeah.
And then yeah, but I got it figured out. It was stressful. I cried. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Because basically the health department was telling me, in order to have your business registered here, you have to have your kitchen. And I had a kitchen, so I had to do the legal process all over again with a new health department. And it's never seamless with them. You know this probably. Like, it's always kind of stressful. So that was my biggest challenge. And in the Board to Business Blueprint, we talk about that. I brush over it gently, but in the private Facebook group, we talk more about it, of like, what are our other options besides the commercial kitchen? What other kitchens have a
Right.
health permit? Like, there are ways around it where you can still be doing it officially and legally. And and then also, the most important thing is that process, once you get over that, it's done. That
Yeah.
challenge is over. Like, I don't have to do that again. Like, all my paperwork, everything is done. There's no more stress, period. Like, that challenge is over. So it's just one challenge, it's a hump, and then you're over it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that story. I don't know what it is with the health department, why they make things so difficult. I never would want that job because I feel like they never like leave in a happy space. I don't know. They always find something as an issue, but I know that's their job. But still,
It's
it is
so
a
hard.
stressful process.
I know.
Um,
I couldn't imagine having a like my own actual like if I had a bakery because
right.
it's more intense. They're like your
Yeah,
sink has to be a certain temperature and you can't have flour within a certain amount of inches near the floor and it's that much more intense. Then we're just doing folding some salami and like unwrapping some crackers. Like not a
I
huge
know. They're like, "Yeah, but it's touching this, and
yeah.
it's not at this, the cheese is needs to be wrapped in this," and all the things. So, yeah, but I don't know, it's just, after working in a normal 9 to 5, there's nothing greater than having time freedom and being able to set your own hours and do almost what you want, if you will, and I don't know, it's like once you get to that level, it's very hard to go back to anything different, so it's like
No.
you gotta make it work, however it needs to happen.
I know. I even had to call out sick a few times. I've shared this before. When I had a big client, a corporate client, reach out for me to do a grazing table, and they actually became a consistent client.
Okay.
Especially when you get a corporate client, whether that's a realtor or a luxury gym or even an influencer, they like their people. And so they will use you again. They'll call you
Okay.
back. So just that's a good thing to note.
Yeah, I love your tips about, you sprinkle so many nuggets all the time about like, did you talk to the realtor today? Did you speak to this person? You should put a sign up at a brewery or a wine place, all of those little things. And I mean, sometimes it's overwhelming, but it's like, man, no is never an option
Yeah.
ever. There's never really an excuse not to be successful with it. And unless you're just doing a crappy job. But I just can't speak highly enough of what you're doing.
Oh, thank you so much, Sabrina. Well, do you have any following questions to wrap it up?
No, you've kind of answered all of my big ones. And again, I'm a researcher, so most of my questions are answered through what you got going on. But again, thank you so much for taking the time today to share your knowledge.
You're so welcome. And then where can we find you when people are watching this?
Yeah, so I'm called the Grazing House. So the Grazing House Ocala, HAUSOCALA, and that's my Instagram account, or thegrazingHouseOcala.com.
Beautiful. So we'll have to have everyone go check you out, follow you. And then this was so much fun. I'm happy we got to do this.
For sure. Thanks so much.
You're so welcome. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will be back soon with more recorded mini coaching sessions. And if you're interested in setting up a coaching session with me, go to www.thegrazeacademy.com where you can sign up for courses, packages, and of course, coaching. I'll see you guys soon.